So in this video, I'll be talking about historical linguistics. Now, historical linguistics could be interpreted in two different ways. It could be the history of linguistics. So, for example, different theories, different moments, different important sections of linguistic history, the history of linguistics, or it could be the history of a language or the history of many languages or the history of interactions between languages. And historical linguistics focus on the second case. It's not the history of linguistics. That's a different thing altogether. Okay, so what is language change? Well, language change is a fact of life. Languages change. There is no language with living speakers which is not changing. All languages, all living languages are all changing all the time. For example, the way you guys speak is not the same as the Spanish in Don Quixote de la Mancha, and the way I speak English is not the way Romeo and Juliet spoke English in the time of Shakespeare. So it's a simple fact that languages change, and the way we speak today will be different from the way people speak in 100, 200, 300 years. Okay, so how do languages change? Well, they can change in many different ways. For example, you can have sound change. So the sounds of your language can change. So if we think about some examples of Spanish words which come from Latin, not all Spanish words come from Latin, of course, but the vast majority of Spanish words come from Latin. So in Spanish, arbor has become árbol, yeah, and cárcel has become cárcel, okay, and robur has become roble. So you can kind of see how these R sounds at the end of words are kind of being preferred or are being replaced or have been replaced, sorry, by all sounds, roble, etc. Okay, so that's an example of sound change. Obviously, it's not the only example of sound change. There are many, many more examples in English and in Spanish. But I want to keep this video short. So lexical change. What happens with lexical change? Well, if we think about the words in English where we have beef, mutton, and veal. Now, beef is the meat of a cow. Mutton is the meat of a sheep. And veal is the meat of a deer. Okay. Now, they all come from French. And in English, they only refer to meat. But these words in French, where they actually come from, mean both the animal and the meat. Yeah, so that's an example of lexical change. One word can change meaning. Now, this is an interesting case because it's a case of what we call linguistic borrowing. What do we mean by linguistic borrowing? I actually have a video about this on my another video about this on my channel. Linguistic borrowing is kind of a strange term because the language they get the word from doesn't plan on giving it back. So it's not like borrowing money or, I don't know, borrowing somebody's notes or borrowing somebody's computer or something. We don't plan on giving it back. So if we think about ojalá, comes from Arabic, meaning inshallah, if God, if Allah wills, si es que así lo desea Allah, inshallah, ojalá. Yeah, so languages are constantly borrowing words from each other all the time. If we think about selfie, yeah, the word selfie didn't exist in Spanish, like voy a tomar una selfie, yeah? Esa selfie te quedó preciosa, for example, right? Okay, good. One more example, syntactic change. For example, ending on a preposition. In the past, not many people, or it wasn't considered completely correct to say things like, who do you live with? In the past, the prescriptive is used to say, with whom do you live? Yeah, but the thing is, very, very few people actually say that nowadays. So, for example, even in English books nowadays, the most common thing to teach students is who do you live with? Because with whom do you live is like, you know, probably what 1% of English speakers actually say. So, you know, it's more of a reflection of what people actually do, even though today some people consider this sentence incorrect because it ends on a preposition. The word with is a preposition, and some people think that it's bad to end a sentence on a preposition. Okay, for example, who is this song by? That's what people say nowadays. Yeah, by whom is this song sounds really old and antiquated to me. But some people even today would consider this to be more correct. And where did you buy these flowers from? Some people say ending on this preposition from is bad, is wrong, but it's what people actually do. Yeah. So in the traditional sense, it would be from where did you buy these flowers? But like I say, not many people do that nowadays. So that's an example of a change in syntax, a change in sentence structure. So as always, guys, I hope this video was useful.